all right, everyone. It is From the Margins with Jimmy Auffant. Welcome back, Jimmy. How are you?
I am doing fine. How are you?
Alive and kicking, sir. Alive and kicking. So it's been a quite the week at Orange County government with the governor visiting with the chief financial officer in Golia, um, talking about the Doge or the FAFO audit that took place, I believe, August 5th and August 6th of this month, 2025. And I watched the press conference with the governor and the CFO, and I can't remember. I think it was the CFO who stated towards the end, or maybe it was the governor, who knows. But I do remember that some of the audits that they completed gave them information that they believe will not be to the liking by a large margin of the voters, of the citizens of Orange County. We'll see. We'll see. However, as added context, the governor did promote his idea of a reduction in property taxes across the state or the elimination of property taxes. And I truly believe that this goes hand in hand with a lot of the audits that the or not Orange County government, but Florida is conducting across the state.
Let me tell you, audits are like people. There's good things about them and there's bad things about them. Look, my concern is that most politicians don't know how to do audits. And the CFO is one, and so is our governor.
Mhm.
Sometimes you spend money that you can question its uh, usefulness. You could question its if it's effective or not effective. And I'll give you an example. You want to take an audit that you could prove that really you wasted money. There was billions spent in New Orleans,
Yeah.
prepare the dike. So what happened with Katrina didn't happen. The problem was that the engineering speculated and thought that it could resist it. Well, when Katrina came, say, "Yeah, no, you're wrong. Your math is off, and I'm going to blow this to kingdom come, and I'm flooding everything, and bye bye."
Right.
Uh, Question is, was the money spent incorrectly, or do we want to come back on Monday morning and quarterback and say, "Hey, you should have done it this way or that way, because the way you did it was wrong"? That is a legitimate complaint. But was the money wasted by trying to do something? I don't think so. Uh, what they are auditing is highly questionable and extremely, just like our governor and our CFO, extremely racist. Why do I say this? The problems that they've asked Orange County to give them accounting on have three things in common. One, they're to help the community. Two, they're to help the community of less resources than the governor and his wife, who could take $10 million of our money and make them their own. And three, they're black. The majority of the problems that he's asking for is black, and he's calling them DEI.
Correct.
Because go to, and I'm going to be careful the way I say this because I don't want to be misinterpreted, but a lot of the problems are in African American areas. To improve things in African American areas, to maintain the historical values of African American areas, to help places like Eatonville. Okay, money was the county did spend money on the Luther Martin King parade. It's a fact. Let's get it out. It is. Uh, it spend some money also on the Hispanic, on the Puerto Rican Day Parade. So I'll let that one out there too. There's nothing wrong with the county participating in their residents' activities. What they're going to try to say is that the money could have been spent on something else. They're going to try to say, and the audit's not even out, but I'm going to give you the result, that the money that was spent in the African American communities discriminated against whites, and that basically the county is misguided in its function. Look, if you're going to go into Orange County, it is a fact of life that I would say that more than 50% of the employees that work in the county are African American.
Correct.
They apply and they get the jobs. Okay, let's start. The mayor is African American. The commission from District 6 is African American. This attitude that we're going to check these things pisses me off to no avail. Do you want to check out the ones that we spend on development? Do you want to check Visit Orlando? Because you haven't, and you're not going to, because that's run by white people for white people's pockets. I'm going to call it out. That's run by white people for white people's pockets. So don't pretend that you're really doing an audit, and be prepared, because you have somebody smarter than you in this chair who's going to call you out. And I'm calling you out right now. You're doing a racist audit. You're targeting programs that favor African Americans in the majority. Yes, they have their communities. They need to be invested in, just like we need to invest in Vethlo, just like we need to invest in Christmas, and we do. But you're not checking those out because those are white districts. You don't care about those. You don't want to check Apopka because those are white districts. You don't want to check West Orange because those are white districts. You are checking the African American district. So be very careful, DeSantis. You're not that smart. As a matter of fact, I consider you below average. The reason you lost your primary was not only that you lost to Trump, it's because your campaign sucked.
It was bad.
It was horrible. Okay, you're going to try to go and campaign for president. I took the most progressive this county and I showed them that they were racist and they did. Look, the new thing in my country right now is that if you try to help the poor who may happen to be African American or Hispanic, you are taking away from the white people. Wait a minute, white people. You have your programs. You receive your money, and what is being spent is in predominantly African American districts, which should be spent at the same level as the white districts, which in Orange County is not exactly true. White districts, black districts, white districts, Hispanic districts. That's the truth. So I defy you, if you have the guts and the knowledge of how to do an audit, come out and say that more money is spent in the white districts than in the African American and Hispanic districts. Look, out of 6, 3 districts currently, before the new map has not been approved. The concept of the 8 districts has, but the concept where they are, of the 6 districts that we have, 1 is African American and 2 are Hispanic. So half of Orange County is minority. As a matter of fact, that's not even true. If you take the 33% Hispanic, according to the 20 census, and the 20% African American, that's 53%. And there's a 10% that don't identify themselves as white, black, or Hispanic. And for those of you who are wondering, we have people here from the Middle East. We have people here from Europe. As a matter of fact, the other day, I found it interesting, but I didn't even think of it. But some of the people, there's a Caribbean Chamber of Commerce, because they don't identify themselves as African Americans or as Hispanic. They identify themselves as Caribbean.
That's correct.
So those also put down neither. Then you have people that basically come from Asia. We
Yes.
do have a large Korean population here. We have a large Japanese population here. We have a large Chinese population here,
Yeah.
from both China and Taiwan. Just because
Mhm.
we need to distinguish that. Okay, so when people tell me that, as a matter of fact, I know two families that are from Australia descent that also don't identify themselves as such because they're not.
Mhm.
So there's a 10% that say we need a white, we need a Hispanic, we need a black. So if you take that 10% that says we're not white, 63% of Orange County identifies itself as as a not white person. And
Right.
in my book, the CFO, let me teach you math because you're a moron. 53 is higher, okay, than 37. Simple math. So if you're spending more money on this 63 than you're on this 37, that's not correct math. Now, if you want to say it should be 50-50, then you are favoring the whites and discriminating against Hispanics, non-whites, and African Americans.
Right.
Then you are the racist who is discriminating. So just so you can learn math, because I know you're not too smart up here. Your mouth tells me that you don't have it here.
Jimmy, Jimmy, with the county scaling back its small business, minority and women's small business enterprise program um, to comply with, state law or federal law, um, does that acknowledge that there's a need for those to look into the so-called DEI grants and contracts?
Well, can I ask you a question? Can you define to me what is DEI? Because I hear that a lot. And I'm going to be as honest as I can. I don't even know what DEI stands for. Diversity, equality, inclusion. Yes, those three words say a lot. But what does that mean? Does that mean that we have to accept that America, you're no longer white? Does
Mhm.
that include America? You do not. You have to accept that there are other groups here that pay taxes, and have the same rights as you. It's not that they pay taxes so the white people will get benefits. If they pay taxes so we can all get benefits. So basically, I'm not sure what they mean by DEI. For me, DEI is as follows: we all need to be the same. We
Yes.
all need to be treated equally. So, if for some reason, I'm going to go an example, I'm going to use Orange County.
Okay.
The worst water quality in Orange County currently is in South Apopka.
Yes. Yes.
By
Answer is yes.
design, by design, the white people decided that they were going to screw the people of South Apopka. Now call them out. That was by design. That was by order of the city of Apopka. And they have the worst quality of water. And to bring them up to the rest of the county is not a DEI. It's human rights. You screw with me, my water has more bad quality, and I do not deserve this, and I pay the same amount in quality of taxes than everybody else. I need to be treated equally. So when people tell me that helping South Apopka get better quality of water is a DEI, I say to you, fuck you. You do not understand what DEI is. The city of Apopka in the 30s decided that South Apopka, which was uh, a black neighborhood, unincorporated from the city, still is. They would have never let the black side of Apopka into the city limits. Let's call it out. Decided to give them less pressure and lower quality. And it's in the paperwork that they signed.
Mhm.
And it hasn't changed. To this day, the city has not really severely changed that. Lake Apopka is completely completely unusable. You can't fish there. It is polluted to the max, and it was done by the auspices of Lake County in Orange County and the city of Apopka. Okay, so if the residents of Orange County are saying my water quality is inferior than the rest of it, and I want it to be improved, that is not a DEI project. That is a human right project. As a matter of fact, there's this other area of Orange County that has the same problem, but it's discussed much more, which is Wedgeville.
Yeah.
That is a predominantly white neighborhood. Mm-hmm. But improving the water quality in Woodford is not considered DEI.
Right.
But it's being improved for whites. So with all due respect to the CFO, before you throw out your thing, and I have to have a press conference in front of the city hall and call you out, be prepared to learn the knowledge of Orange County. Because you have one major problem. You have not met me yet, and you don't fuck with my county because I will fuck your brains out. Seriously, this is my county. This is where my daughters were born and came from. This is where I've resided for the last 45 years. And God knows that the way I love this county, there are very few people. So if you're going to come here and say false things about my county, get prepared. I'll have a press conference. I will throw everything I can against you. And I will use this podcast, and I will go to any podcast that I'm invited, and I would show you as a liar that you are. I'll leave it there. Because I'm getting, like they say back home, un poco encojonado, which means I'm getting pissed off. Now, we have something here in the government secrets. What would you consider a government secret since you put that title there?
So, as I was researching the story or researching our topic for today, our leading topic, allegedly there was someone, a whistleblower, who approached the office of DOJ, FAFO, to say that it's possible that some of these records that were reviewed were altered in some way, or the information in specific records were not shared with the audit team. And therefore, the DOJ recommendation to the CFO was that this needs to be explored further, and the decision from the CFO was to issue investigatory subpoenas for further interview, further record examination, and this is endorsed by the governor. These subpoenas went out the day of the press conference earlier this week, and so that's where the government secrets part of the title of this podcast comes from. Mayor Demings did put out a statement, and I believe he was on at a press conference for another matter, and he did address some of those allegations. But he did have put out a statement yesterday evening, and it says, greetings. As you may have seen in recent news coverage, our governor and the state's chief financial officer, CFO, have accused our team of acting without integrity and not producing documents related to alleged DEI programs during the recent DOJ audit. I reject that accusation. Orange County government fully cooperated with the Florida DOJ audit team, providing all requested data during their visit on Tuesday, August 5th and Wednesday, August 6th. We gave them 183,174 files, totaling 596.8 gigabytes of data. No employees, was instructed to alter, change, or delete any documents. While our employees may have read from or referred to notes or documents being discussed by the Doge team, employees were not scripted in their remarks. Now, the state CFO has issued subpoenas to more than a dozen employees for further investigation. The state has offered no evidence supporting its allegations. We welcome the opportunity for full public transparency on this issue. And it goes on, showing support for staff, letting the governor and the CFO understand that, hey, we're fully cooperating and we'll continue to cooperate. And he says to the residents, the 1.5 million residents who call Orange County home, I want to thank you for your timeless efforts to keep our community moving forward always. And that's Mayor Jerry Deming speaking on behalf of Orange County government to the Orange County public.
Let me answer this very simple. This
Yes,
is addressed to our Governor DeSantis and to our CFO. Do you really think that people are this stupid, or are you stupid? I think the second one is the better conclusion. First of all these grants have been public records for years. Okay? You don't need to subpoena them because they're public records. Second, if you really had a CF whistleblower, he or she will be collecting money because that's the only reason people become whistleblowers. Okay? But you have never provided that name. Third, you're coming up with bullshit saying that it's something that says you're not sure what it is, but it's out there. And somebody told me, and because somebody told me, that makes it true. You don't have muster that will pass a hearing in a court. You have no evidence that they've done any wrongdoing. But you're going to say it because most people in this country believe what they hear. This is one thing I'm going to do in another program. Don't trust the bullshit that's coming out of Tallahassee because it's bullshit. Oh, we have a whistleblower who tells us that they didn't give you everything. Won't tell you what's missing. Won't tell you what's missing. But that gives me the excuse to lie to the people and issue subpoenas because they haven't been trusted. And now I could call Orange County people and their employees dishonest, even though I can't prove shit. That is the scam of the Republican Party. Or I shouldn't even call it the Republican Party because many of my friends get offended when I call. That's what you get when you have the MAGA racist movement that has taken over this state, in which tells you, hey, I don't present you any evidence. Hey, I heard it through the grapevine that this is what's happening. I have no collaborating person. I have nothing to show you to prove it. I can't even tell you what you're hiding, but I'm going to issue a subpoena because I'm going to smear your good name. So I'm going to smear yours. Governor DeSantis, you and your wife, hope. I don't need to say anything else. 10 million. I don't need to say anything else. So I'm not smearing. I'm calling you out. You have lied to the people in the state by telling them and making them promises that you know you cannot keep. You are in a campaign to smear the blue counties in this state. Well, get ready. I'm going to bring you failure to deal with the red counties of the state. Second, we have a crisis with homeowners insurance. We have a crisis with homeowners insurance, and you've done shit because you don't have a brain, like they say in The Wizard of Oz, to deal with it. I can give you a solution. Give me a call. Make it easy for you. 2, you are coming up with this whole thing of woke. For Pete's sake, for the last 40 years, the Republican Party has controlled the House and the Senate in this state, and the governors. Okay?
Yeah.
And you're going to come and tell me that there were woke laws in this state? There were no woke laws. But you lied to the people because you're a liar that they were woke, and you ended woke in Florida. There was no woke. You're full of shit. Okay, CFO, let me clarify to you something. If you were to walk into a court of law and ask for a subpoena, you would have had to produce the whistleblower, and he or she would have to be questioned. You would have to get a specific of what is that you claim they are hiding. You're bullshitting. They're not hiding. You know they're not hiding. Have some decency. Have you lost all decency, sir? Because if you have, it's time for you to retire. And last, do not question the employees of Orange County. They are honest, hardworking people.
They are.
Who I have worked with for years. And that includes, and I'm going to say this, my wife who gave 21 years to the Orange County as an employee. So don't ever, without putting some evidence on the table, otherwise you're a coward hiding behind your title. Bullshit.
Jimmy, a couple of questions. And as a lawyer, for our viewers and our listeners who do not know, the difference between the investigatory subpoenas that are coming from the CFO's office versus a subpoena in a court of law. Can you explain that for our audience?
Technically, a government agency can issue a subpoena, which technically can be challenged in court.
Right.
Okay, it can, and say, this is what I want. The problem that I have is that even the CFO has to ask for specifics, say, this is what I want. Saying that I want to talk to somebody, that's a deposition, which is a discovery procedure to which they're entitled. I'm not going to say they're not, but that is not an investigator. That is sit down. Okay, I have a list of questions. This is what I want to ask you. Okay, you can ask them to produce documents, definitely. But from what I understand from the subpoenas, they're not asking to produce documents because they're bullshitting. They don't know which documents they want. They have every document that the county said is provided. That's why Demings was very specific. This is everything we gave you. This is everything we got. And if you look at those subpoenas, they do not request documents.
Right.
They want to talk to people. They want to harass people. They want to get them to, look, I'm a lawyer. I can make you say things that and screw you up during a deposition, and you might confess to doing things you never did.
Right.
You're very able. Even though I must say the CFO's attorneys are not too smart, but still, they went to law school. This is my problem. Can they issue it? Yes. Is the county going to challenge them? Probably not, because the county doesn't want to give the appearance that they have something to hide.
Good
But
point.
if you were going to court, you would have to say, hey, we need a subpoena because this guy says that we have it. For an investigated subpoena, you could come up with lies, like the CFO is doing. Lies. I'm going to use it again. Lies that you have somebody. Now, prove me wrong. And by the way, if you want to sue me, let me tell you something. You can. But then I can subpoena all your records, and you don't want that to happen. And that includes your personal records. So be careful of what you wish for, because that's the problem that right now President Trump is having, that he sued Murdoch, and they're getting his records, and he's not liking it. So with that in mind, yes, there is a difference. But in this case, a intelligent and savvy person who knows what they're doing doesn't hold a press conference, doesn't come into innuendos. Look, right now, let me explain something to you. If he had half a brain, he would say, issue the subpoenas, bring in these people. We could have recorded them, and when they fuck up, we'll let the recording come out. And this way, he did not have to go and lie that he has a whistleblower who said that they didn't give him everything, because there's nobody in the Orange County government. Let me put this way. There's nobody in the Orange County government who knows every part of the procedure. It's
too much.
Among people. It's too much. So when he or she says this, be careful. And by the way, there is a way to come back with the Minority Business Association.
Okay.
biggest group of people that live in this country, or gender, excuse me, is not male.
It's
It's
women.
So when you're talking about women as minority, I always found that kind of hilarious. So I would just call it the Women's and Small Business Advisory Board.
Okay.
It's the same thing. The
Fair
only
enough.
thing now is that technically, yes, if you're white and you want to have a place to go and answer your question, sure. If you want to have a place to go and learn how to do business with the county, sure.
Yeah.
The only thing is that white men have never needed it. They just go and buy bright people. So they don't need that.
Jimmy, there's a wrinkle in this, and I don't know if it's Commissioner Uribe going on the offense on behalf of the county, or is it because she's running for mayor and there's some issues about her and her work as a commissioner that she rather not the public be aware of or focus on. However, last week it came to attention, or earlier this month, it came to attention that Visit Orlando, the marketing firm for Orange County, I guess, for lack of a better term, but the
The monopoly for Orange County.
what's that, Jimmy?
The monopoly.
Yes, that's true. They were audited by our own county controller, Phil Diamond. And it showed that there were some concerns about how tourism development tax dollars were spent by the Visit Orlando entity. And Commissioner
And
Uribe,
what?
I'm sorry?
And what?
And in dining in New York, car washes, at an exorbitant amount of money, as alleged.
Who benefited from that?
Will benefit from it?
African Americans. No. Hispanics. No. White businessmen.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Because as far as white businessmen spending our tax money in lavish dinners, car washes, and other traveling first class, we're okay with that. That's not a problem. But God forbid that the minorities do the same thing. Because
Yes.
that's DEI. Well, I might want to coin a new thing.
What's that, Jimmy?
Okay. And listen to the way I'm going to put it, because I'm going to put it in a different way than most of you. This is a FTR.
FTR. I was waiting for an M in there. FTR. What's an FTR, Jimmy?
Favor the rich.
Mm.
I'm not going to put a race on it.
Yeah.
It's favor the rich. This government, this CFO, this governor is all about. You want to talk about the? You guys are FTRs. Favor the rich and fuck the poor. Did you ever see that movie by Mel Brooks, History of the World?
Part 1? Yes.
Where they go, fuck the poor. That's exactly what our state government, that is what DeSantis is all about. Fuck the poor and favor the rich. CFO, fuck the poor, favor the rich. That's what this is. With all due respect, they're not auditing Visit Orlando. Our controller did it. Our controller, Phil Diamond, I've known him for years. He is a CPA. He is a really smart people. The people that work in the control's office you work with, because they do the CRC, okay? They are very competent and very good.
They're good.
And don't question their integrity, okay? As a matter of fact, let me say something about our county to our governor and to our CFO. Morons, which is the only county that has a controller.
Orange County. Independent.
In other counties, that controller is a clerk of the court who half of the time doesn't even have a high school diploma.
Ouch.
And the other half, oh, there's no requirement. I'm sorry, there is none. Okay, I'll give right now the example. The last 3 clerks of the court had no business being controllers.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, hell no.
Right.
Eddie Fernandez, hell no.
Okay.
Lydia Gardner, hell no. What
All
I'm
right.
trying to say to all of you people is that this is the only county with a controller with integrity and that everything is revised to a penny. So stop this bullshit of lying. You, DeSantis, you, CFO, are all about fuck the poor, favor the rich.
Do you think Uribe is onto something? She and her attorney, Tom Callan, his son, who has skills in being an accountant, they did their own audit. They put together a spreadsheet and broke down the expenses and pointed out that there was $20 million that Visit Orlando should give back. And during the last Board of County Commissioners meeting, Visit Orlando had to explain, about their expenses. And if I understood the article correctly out of the Orlando Sentinel, that Visit Orlando is maybe considering giving back to the county $20 million that was appropriated for their activities.
Look, I'm going to say this. In politics, you need to be on the offensive. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the defensive, you're dead. You have to be. So I have to give them credit for that. I've known Tom for years. Tom is a good guy, and in his principles, I would never question. As a matter of fact, I would, if he tells me something, I would trust that it's true. So
Okay.
I'm going to go to the reverse of that. This is where it bothers me. The most corrupt government that we have had in many years with DeSantis and the CFO is trying to question our integrity. People who, I'm going to say this, 10 million hope. I'm not going to say anything else. 10 million hope. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. So a person who basically, when he ran his campaign, was financed by some highly questionable people, don't come here and try to question our integrity. Because DeSantis, you have none. You never had, and you never will. And the CFO, you're going to challenge Orange County. I defy you, if you have any sense of integrity, CFO of Florida, to audit Visit Orlando. I defy you, and this is going to be even more interesting, for you to go into 4 Republican counties and all of them. You know how many Republican counties the CFO has audited?
0.
I'm sorry. You think that people are stupid? You're stupid. They're not stupid. They know what you're doing. You're trying to get rid of this. But right now, if I was Orange County, I would suggest creating the a woman small business committee, given the same powers that they had before, use the same money that they had before. And if men want to come and learn how to do business with the county and how we can help them, I have no problem with that. And they could be certified like everybody else as knowledgeable of the county and proven that they really are a small business and that they're not sucking into some illegal activity. I have no problem. Okay? Look, I'm going to say this. I sat on the Minority Business Board, and to be certified as a woman on Minority Business Board, you have to open everything. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, there was somebody who came to one of our meetings and who had applied. He said, the only thing you didn't ask me was to take off my clothes. And I had to laugh at that one, because what he was trying to say, I showed you everything. So it is what it is. And I have no problem. But at this point, I think it's time that, yes, Orange County fight back. because you have a corrupt governor, you have a questionably corrupt CFO who are questioning Orange County integrity when their offices are not up to par. Let's go. And by the way, stay there, because when you hear the fuck up of the week for the Republicans, it does include Florida.
Uh-oh. Before we get to that, Jimmy, speaking of, you said that the Republicans, the governor, is trying to get rid of the liberals, the Democrats here in Orange County. This whole, and we talked about it, boy, have we talked about it, along with tariffs. However, Texas has recently passed legislation, the governor signed it, to have their own redistricting of their congressional districts, a mid-decennial redistricting of their congressional districts. California may follow suit. Illinois is thinking about it. New York is thinking about it. Florida, the governor's
thinking about it.
Yes.
Look, this is interesting. This is pandering to an idiot whose health is highly questionable, saying, look what we're doing for you. Please don't fuck with us and let us remain in power. They all know that this is going to go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, as much as it has bent over backwards to accommodate President Trump, would have to basically declare the Constitution invalid and would have to say that basically all their case law and every time they called gerrymandering was incorrect, that the 10% deviation is a joke, and everything else. Yes, you can make a map to favor a political party, and that's okay. That's not going to happen. That's not reality. What's going to happen is that they're going to pass a law, and it's going to be for the election of next year. Some people are going to challenge it in California, New York, Illinois, Florida, and Texas. It's going to go to the Supreme Court. It's going to take its court, and there's going to be a stay on the new maps, and it's not going to apply in 2026.
But Jimmy, and I'm not too sure if it was for this show or one of my other shows, and I researched this. There was a 2019 Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court decision that pretty much stated that the Supreme Court does not have any space for partisan maps. That this is purely a political issue and should be resolved as a political issue. It's a state issue. The states have control over the districting of their states.
Yeah, but that case, we need to distinguish. What they were trying to challenge is that the state passed a map that would favor the House and the Senate of a political party. That's correct. This is a map that's federal. Here, there's no doubt the Supreme Court would have jurisdiction. You're saying, no, we're not fucking with our House and Senate. That's well established. We're going to fuck with the congressional. And we're telling the whole world that we're doing this to favor a party. We're telling the whole world that we're going to take away rights from people just so it favors those of us who are in power now. This is a federal election. This is not a state election. That one, they were correct. This is a state election. And if the states want to fuck up, you're right. You can discriminate. That's not a problem. But in federal elections, I don't think they can take that position. Mm-hmm. Because basically, federal law controls federal elections. And federal law says you cannot gerrymander. Mm. So it will be interesting how Clarence Thomas tries to push it one way or the other. But it is interesting.
Right. The maps that I've seen, people imagining what a redistricted Florida will look like, has a lone Democratic leading district here in Orange County, instead of the two that it has, District 10, Congressional District 10, and just south of it, Congressional District 9. 10, Frost. 9, Darren Soto, both representatives. This map that I saw would pit the two of them against each other if they decide to run for that particular seat, a new 10 or a new 9 or whatever. What's your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
Does that surprise you?
Oh, no, it doesn't. And I expect one of them to drop out and maybe run for something else.
Well, right now, I'm going to say this. I'm surprised that we're on August 29th, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
How many real candidates does the Florida Democratic Party have for the U.S. Senate?
Oh, okay, all right. Instead of conjecture, instead of guessing, I'm going to go to the actual, race. And for U.S. Senator, Jimmy, we have 2. Wait, let me check myself there. No, 2, because Joshua Weil, Weil, I can't pronounce his name for some reason right now. I believe he dropped out of running for senator. So that leaves Tamika Lyles and Alex Gould, Gould, as Democratic nominees, people who have filed for the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senator representing Florida.
Who are these people?
I have no idea. I know Joshua because he ran for the seat that eventually in the special election to replace the vacancy, to fill the vacancy of Representative Michael Walsh, which now is in the possession of Randy Fine, Representative Fine.
Okay, first of all, he lost his race for Congress.
Yes, he did.
He had the wrong people advising him.
Woo, boy, did he?
I've said that more than once.
Yes,
and I don't know who the young lady is.
Yeah.
Do we have a serious candidate for the U.S. Senate?
I don't know these people. No one is separating themselves from the crowd. Alex is out of St. Petersburg, and Tamika is out of Kissimmee.
Bingo.
Huh?
She's one of our local people that you don't even know who she is.
Yikes. Wow. Wow. She ran for Florida House of Representatives, District 43 in 2020. She's a Democrat, as we stated, born in 1970. She's 55 years old. She is a candidate for the U.S. Senate's, Florida General Special Election, the seat that Ashley Moody filled after it was vacated by Senator, now State's Secretary of State Marco Rubio. But her following on Instagram is about 360 followers, 770 followers on LinkedIn. Let's find out a little bit about her, Jimmy, while we're here.
What I'm trying to say is you do your research. I'm sorry, I looked. We have somebody who made some news when he ran and lost in Brevard County. Some people say he lost because it was too strong Republican. Hold on. I got somebody in the door. Give me a moment.
Sure. We're going to take a little break here while Jimmy answers the door. Oh, Jimmy's back.
I'm back. You could have to do some editing. Good.
Good luck to me on that. I'm going to try my
Okay.
hand at it.
Anything else? Look, what I'm trying to say is we're a year away from, less than a year away from the primary.
Yes, sir.
Less than a year away from the primary. We
Yeah.
don't have a serious candidate.
We
We really don't.
We don't. And as you were answering the door, I was looking at Miss Lyle's LinkedIn page, and yikes, no activity in the last 5 years. That's the first place I go to find out about any candidate, what their professional background is. And it's disappointing for someone who's run for office before, someone who is running for such a high caliber position here in Florida, and she has very low information on her LinkedIn page. It's disappointing. I see, we share some common contacts on LinkedIn. However, that really doesn't do anything for me as one, a voter, and two, as a political, just trying to figure out how she plays in the larger political.
It is interesting that we're looking at less than a year away from a primary.
Yeah.
And the Democratic Party does not have a serious candidate for Senate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, that's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
The Florida Democratic Party has become a joke. If you want to be a U.S. Senator, you're on your own, get your money, put it where your mouth is, and run for it, because you can't count on the Florida Democratic Party to help you. Yes, once you become the nominee, you go to the different counties and ask them for their support, and they're going to push your name, but there is no real effort to do anything. As a matter of fact, do you know Chuck Todd?
Yes, I do. You solicit to him.
Okay, he's a Floridian.
Oh, really?
Yes, graduated from from the University of Miami. Sorry, did I say that? Those of us in Florida have a tendency to say you cannot spell scum without UM, but
Oh man! Oh boy!
Hey, it's college football season. Come on!
Right.
We have to come up with something. But yeah, maybe somebody could approach him and say, "Hey, Chuck, you want to run? You might get the supporters." But no, there's nobody serious at exactly 11 months away from a primary.
And that for a party is disappointing.
No, I wish I could use that word. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Yes, it's fucked up. It is. And
you haven't planned. That shows you the Democratic Party in Florida. If the candidate falls in our lap, well, that's great. Do they train them? No. Do they back them? No. Do they help themselves out? No.
No.
What they do is, if you run for office and you say certain things, your own party would chastise you. Like if I was to run for and say, hey, we need to get away from this woke thing. We need to talk about affordability. Florida is a state that it's too expensive to live in. Florida is a state that its education system is crumbling. Florida is a state where they chastise the universities. They chastise the education system. They do not help business at all. If anything, they talk about regulation. They do everything they can to steal money from them and make them give them money in order to help them out. Yes, nobody's doing that. And that is the whole sad point. People, Florida Democratic Party, it's time. As a matter of fact, time has passed. It's urgent that you find a serious candidate to run in the state of Florida for the U.S. Senate. I'm going to repeat myself. The Florida Democratic Party is urgent that you take the time to find a serious candidate who could run for the U.S. Senate. Now,
And you're right, Jimmy, about a sense of urgency and a sense of of being present in the moment, of understanding what people are really concerned about. Because my feed is very diverse in regards to my algorithms for my social media and so forth. It's very diverse because I get, viewpoints from across the political spectrum. Sometimes it'll verve to the right, sometimes it'll verve to the left, depending on, opinion, information around a certain event or an idea that is dominating the media. And lately, instead of hearing more and more about the economy by the Democrats who are failing, I'm seeing so many posts about replacing the blacked off or the state paving over or painting over the rainbow crosswalks across the state, and here specifically in Orlando, in the protests. And I'm saying, well, wait! Don't, no! Just let them do it. There's bigger issues like the economy that people are addressing every single day. That's more important than seeing the next video of someone on their hands and knees in the middle of an intersection, chalking over a crosswalk. It's like no presence, Jimmy.
well,
None.
no, now I'm going to push back on that one a little bit.
Okay.
I think they're doing this to provoke, and they're getting the response that they want. Look, don't tell me that there is an urgency, that they need to do this to paint over the Rainbow Coalition. Look, the counties are independent. They should be able to do whatever they want. As a matter of fact, if the citizens want to paint it, they paint it. But this is the issue. They're not doing it because they believe in it. They're doing it to provoke. They know that to every act, there's a response, and this is the response that they're going to get. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that we're not talking about, you're right, the other things. This was done by corrupt politicians who are stealing your money. This is done by corrupt companies that favor not hiring minorities. This is done by companies that are paid by the state, not because of their qualifications, but because how much money they give the corrupt politician and put it in their pocket. That's what we need to be discussing. But yes, I have no doubt that they went and painted it because they wanted to provoke the answer that they got. That, look, was somebody going to die if it was in the rainbow colors? No. Was it something of urgency? There's more potholes to fix by the Department of Transportation than painting over that. It was done by DeSantis group saying, let me do this, so they would do that. Look, that part I can understand. I really can understand. But you're right. We need to be talking about the economy. But more than the economy only, we need to be calling things out, how corrupt this government is. And with that, I'm going to go to the fuck up of the week.
All right.
The Republicans.
Okay.
And I'm going to use my country of Puerto Rico.
Uh-oh.
The governor of Puerto Rico was indicted together with a billionaire from Venezuela, who's wanted by various countries, including Venezuela, but other countries, who lives in London, who was trying to do business in Puerto Rico, and one of the cabinet members of the government of Puerto Rico saw this guy for what he was, a corrupt son of a bitch, and blocked him. He went to the governor of Puerto Rico and offered her money for her campaign if she fired that person.
Jesus.
She did, and he did. She was accused with 4 felony charges. So was the billionaire, and so was an ex-FBI cop who was participating in this.
Oh, wow, Jimmy.
They had them hands down. No ifs or question about it. The attorneys that she had originally said, look, you're better off working out some type of a plea. You're going to lose your license as an attorney.
Right.
The evidence is strong.
Good advice.
Well, the billionaire in London decided to spend $5 million and hired Pam Bundy's ex
Oh, correct.
and hired Donald Trump's attorney. They both got an appointment directly with Pam Bundy. And she ordered that it be reduced to a misdemeanor. Here's where it becomes even more interesting. The attorneys reported that their fees were $3.5 million. The other $1.5 million, nobody knows where it went. There's speculation. I'm going to use the word speculation. She got $500,000 and Donald Trump got $1 million. That's the speculation that's going around. I'm not saying it's true. Just like the CFO says that there's a person out there who's a whistleblower. There is a person who's saying that that's what happened. Who? I don't know who he is. I'm going to be clear. I'm not sure. But that is what the speculation is. The truth of the matter is that the governor, ex-governor of Puerto Rico, pled yesterday to 3 misdemeanors of taking, and this is where it becomes interesting. This is how the federal court had part of jurisdiction of taking a campaign contribution from a foreigner. He lives in London from a foreigner. Yes, you know, campaign issues, you cannot take money from people outside the United States. It's illegal. Okay. And he gave her 3 checks, so that's where the 3 counts come from. At different times. So, it's not he gave here's the same day. No, at different times. It split up the $5,000 gain. It's you know, and I know. Okay. Primary election. Yeah. Okay. Here is where people are angry. The man who orchestrated all this was not her, was the billionaire. But basically, it had to favor everybody, or not. If not, it would look, too obvious. So she pled guilty yesterday, and there was one commentator who made this comment. As of today, I have lost all trust in the federal judicial system.
Yeah.
That is a fuck up. Now, I orchestrated the fuck up of the Democratic Party, and I put it out there.
Okay.
Right now, we're up for re-election next year. We don't have a candidate for the U.S. Senate.
Yes.
We're counting on, again, on an ex-Republican to run for governor as a Democrat. It's not the first time. It's not the second time. It's the third time. That's what we're counting on. Okay? Who's running for CFO? Well, that's the same. Who's running for agriculture? Really nobody. Who's running for Attorney General? I could go on. The Florida Democratic Party is a joke. It exists. I'm not sure even for what. It doesn't help in the local races unless that be run by the local parties. Statewide, if it's presidential campaigns, those are run by the presidential campaigns. They assist, but that's it. And other than supporting various consultants in the state who are assholes, they don't do anything. As a matter of fact, our last candidate for Senate who ran against our ex-governor.
Right. What's that?
Oh, the lady from Miami.
Oh, yes.
Okay. The party helped her. The party spent on Hispanic vote, spent on African American vote. Look, I'm sorry. I love my party. I love the principles of my party. I hate the leadership of the Democratic Party. And I reserve that word hate for only special occasions. But you have worked hard enough, stupid enough to deserve it. Quit, let other people run. Because right now, you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to lose the governorship. You're going to lose the CFO. You're going to lose the agriculture. You're going to lose the attorney general. And you're going to lose the U.S. Senate because you're doing nothing. We're 11 months away from the primary, and there's no serious candidates. Oh, Jolie. Jolie's not a serious candidate. He's a recycle Republican. I'm sorry. He is a recycle Republican. No. There was a question. Do you know why Democrats lose so frequently? Because its leadership is full of morons. With that, I will finish my program for today. Wish you a happy Labor Day.
You too, Jimmy.
Was supposed to mean for the working people, but I'm not sure which the Democratic Party standard for. Not anymore. Subscribe, like, dislike, comment, and give me the numbers that I like. And you can see me on TikTok. You can see me on YouTube. You can see me on Instagram. And you can see me in every other Spotify, wherever you want to go.
Facebook.
My big face is there. And if you think I'm controversial, thank you. I really appreciate that when you call me that. That's the nicest thing that people call me, controversial. So with that in mind, I will see you all next week and have a happy Labor Day.
Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, Jimmy. Thank you so much. We'll see you the next time.
Okay, take care.
Bye now.
Bye.